If you would please, at this time, turn off or silence your electronic devices. Should we need to evacuate, there are plenty of exits toward the rear of the room. Please adhere to all COVID protocols, and if a mask is necessary, please do that. Social distancing, and we'll begin. Ladies and gentlemen, veterans, thank you for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate your service, and thank you. Thank you, Administrator Petrowski, Assistant Administrator Weinberg, guests, veterans, and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TSA's Veterans Day event. Today we pause to honor our veterans and their sacrifice. I'm Jerry Shook. I'm a National Coordinator with the LEFAM's Critical Incident Response Program and Military Veterans Assistance Program. I'll be your Master of Ceremony. I come from a Marine background, so today's my birthday. 247 years old. I look pretty good. Thank you. As we begin today, please stand for the posting of the colors. We got members of the Washington Dulles International Airport Color Guard, and we have a recording of the singing of the national anthem by the Miami International Airport TSO Stephanie Duarte. So please stand. Post the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Right shoulder, halt. Ready, cut. How about, hey. Halt, halt. Ready, up. Halt, son. Halt. Up, up, up,
Well done. You may be seated. Thank you, Color Guard. That was absolutely wonderful. And the TSO from Miami, absolutely spectacular performance on the national anthem. Today we honor our TSA veterans from operations all the way going back to World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Grenada, Beirut, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Afghan Freedom. We greatly appreciate you being with us today. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our veterans by branch of service. For those who served in the Army, motto of This Will Defend, please stand. Thank you. For our Navy veterans, resilient and ready, please stand. For our Air Force veterans, aim high, fly, fight, win, please stand. I must admit, in a previous training that I did with our military liaison coordinators, that I had been doing this program for some time, and I neglected to remember the Space Force. I made a terrible mistake. So it was brought to my attention then, and we've made absolutely certain that we take care of them today. So our veterans from the Space Force, please rise. Their motto is Semper Super. Always above. Anyone from the Space Force with us today? We'll give them a hand anyway. On to our Coast Guard veterans, Semper Paratus, always ready. Please stand if you're a Coast Guard veteran. Very good, thank you. And since today is November 10th, 2022, and as we've already said, today is the Marine Corps birthday. We were established on November 10th, 1775 in Tunn's Tavern, Philadelphia. Today, the United States Marine Corps is 247 years old. Defined by our legacy of honor, courage, and commitment, we honor the sacrifice and wish great success to the future of the United States Marine Corps. To our Marine Corps veterans, thank you for your service. Please rise. Semper Fidelis. I had the honor of speaking to the Commandant Berger, and Sergeant Major Black within the last few days. Absolutely thrilled with all the veterans that belong to TSA LE FAMS. Absolutely honored that we're here. He wanted to pass on his thanks for our continued service to the country. There are two groups I want to honor next. The first group would be veterans that we recognize their sacrifice and contributions, and unfortunately they did not come home. They made the ultimate sacrifice. The second group would be the group of us, that the unfortunates that suicide's taking our veterans. Average is 17 to 22 a day. That's just beyond comprehension. That should not be happening. So I want to please remember in this moment of silence those two groups of people, the ones that didn't come home, but the ones that did come home, but we still need to reach out and help. So please, silence. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Veterans Day. World War I, known as the Great War, officially ended with the Treaty of Versailles. It was signed on June 28th of 1919. However, the fighting ceased 7 months earlier when the armistice between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of World War I, the war to end all wars. In November of 1919, President Wilson proclaimed that November 11th would be the first commencement of Armistice Day with the following words: "To us in America, the reflection of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, with gratitude for the victory, both because things for which it has freed us, and because the opportunity has given Americans to show the sympathy with peace and justice in the council of our nations." The original concept for celebration of that day was to have parades, that businesses would cease at 11 a.m. It was primarily set aside to honor all veterans of World War I. But in 1954, we had our veterans from World War II, the largest deployment aside from the War on Terror at that time, and then we also had the Korean conflict. At the urging of veteran service organizations, on June 1st in 1954, November 11th was declared to be Americans' Veterans Day. Veterans Day continues to be observed on November 11th, and that's why we're here today. Very important that we recognize our veterans for their sacrifice, their hard work, and their dedication and patriotism. At this time, we have a short video that's been taken care of by TSA Audio Visual for us to watch. Please.
If you have instilled that you want to protect the United States, TSA is the place for you.
TSA has been recognized as an employer of choice for veterans, with over 10,000 current employees having previously served in the military.
I'm very proud to be a veteran, and I feel honored to have had the opportunity to serve. The core values of integrity, respect, and commitment are very similar to the core values that I served in the Army.
That idea of selfless service, of being a part of something greater than oneself, has always resonated with me.
The ability to continue to serve and protect in our critical mission of protecting the nation's transportation systems.
It's our mission every day, just like it was in the service. And I feel very fortunate to take all of that great experience that I've had from the military and apply it to my career.
Working at TSA gives you the opportunity to serve your country. It takes people and talent to make sure that we're doing that effectively.
And so much of the skills and experience is really transferable.
If you've served in the military, you've been to multiple different locations, you've observed different cultures, and all of that together brings that wonderful diversity of thought and experience into the team.
At the end of the career, there is the moment of anxiety of transitioning out of the service. What's great about the TSA is we have a very diverse workforce.
You can be a federal air marshal, you can be a canine handler, you can be an explosives expert, you can be an intel specialist. TSA is a great launching pad. We have so much to offer.
Thank you for your service and all that you've done to keep our country safe.
Serving in TSA, serving in government, it truly is a gift that we have to bring to the nation.
Our veteran employees bring tremendous value to the TSA and a commitment to continue defending our country.
Very good. At this time, I'd like to introduce TSA Administrator. Administrator Pekoski is the 7th Senate-confirmed TSA Administrator. Since he began with TSA in August of 2017, TSA has worked continuously to raise the global security baseline for both aviation and surface transportation by strengthening the partnership with industries and the entire Homeland Security network. Ladies and gentlemen, Administrator Costa.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I really appreciate everybody attending the ceremony in person, and for those that are going to view it online, as we honor our veterans and remember those veterans that we have lost. I'd also like to commend all of the cameo appearances on that video. That was incredible. Really sends a very strong message, and those are some of the very same messages that I will send to all of you today. Jerry, thanks so much for being our MC. For those of you who may not know, Jerry is going to end his TSA service at the end of this calendar year. So Jerry, I salute you for your Marine Corps service and for your continued service in TSA. And we all wish you the very best as you go into retirement. So really enjoy it. Thank you. And Jerry mentioned that he coordinates our FAM's critical incident response program. Really, really, really valuable program. Helps our people out, not just in the Federal Air Marshal Service, but across our entire organization. Whenever there's a critical incident, it's a very unique and valuable skill set. So I appreciate you coordinating that. And then Jerry also coordinates our Military Veterans Assistance Program. So Jerry, thanks for the mark you have left on TSA during your service here. I'd also like to recognize TSO Stephanie Duarte out of Miami. That was an incredible rendition of our national anthem, and I'm sure all of you feel the same way. I mean, every time I hear the national anthem, it still sends chills to me. It's just so impactful. I've never seen a vocalist walk and sing it at the same time. I mean, that was really special. And as you've heard me say many times in the past, the talent within our workforce is just amazing. And I think we've only begun to scratch the surface of the talent that we have in the 60,000 people within TSA. So Stephanie, thanks for adding that dimension to our program. And then, of course, the IAD, the Dulles International Airport Color Guard. Really appreciate your participation. You participate in regular events here in this headquarters and around the National Capital Region, representing TSA in a very professional manner. So thank you for your participation today. And then we'll have our keynote, which we're all eager to hear, from Bill Weinberg. Bill is the head of contracts and procurement in our agency, and that's a really critical function for all of us. We can't do a lot without good contracts and good procurement mechanisms. And Bill, I appreciate you coming to TSA and joining us. You have a distinguished career in the federal government, and you've added an awful lot in your relatively short time, even compared to me, in TSA. So looking forward to your keynote. And to our Marines, 247 years. I won't say birthday. I will say a battlefield success. No better fighting force in the world than the United States Marine Corps. And so, happy birthday to our Marines. 247 years of battlefield success is incredible. Let's talk about our veterans, and let's just cover some numbers for a second, and then I'm going to issue a challenge to all of you. We have about 10,400 veterans in TSA. That's a pretty good number, when all told. Of the 10,400, about 3,000 are veterans with disabilities, and we offer tremendous opportunity for veterans with disabilities in this agency. And we have 2,500 currently serving National Guardsmen or reservists in our ranks within that 10,400. When I first came into TSA in 2017, and I did my very first veterans ceremony, we had about 25% of our workforce were veterans. Now we're about 17%. I'm being a little bit generous with the 17%. So that number has come down a bit as a percentage of our workforce. And I would just ask all of our veterans who know the agency well and have a special trust with other veterans to continue to advocate for service in TSA. And I think that's so important because, as was mentioned in the video, one of the things I think about a lot in the position that I hold is what is the culture of the organization and what are the values that we have as an organization that we want to continue to develop and instill in everybody that joins TSA. And one of the things I did several years ago was I just went on all the military service web pages except for Space Force because they weren't in existence yet. But what I found was if you do that, if you just go on, for example, today, go on to marines.mil, and just call up the core values of the Marine Corps. I believe it's on their landing page. That's how important it is to the Marine Corps. You will find core values that are very, very similar to our core values: integrity, respect, and commitment. You will also find that the military services generally have 3 core values, not 7, not 8, not 10, because these are core values, and the emphasis is on the most important values that we hold every single member of the military services to, both from a recruiting perspective and for a continuing service perspective. And we train on our core values in all of our induction and our accession points, whether it's boot camp, officer candidate school, or academy programs. So, when you think about the core values, and I think about veterans in TSA, one thing I step back and say, hey, for all of us, we just need to remind ourselves each and every day that it's all about the people. Everything we do, all the leaders in this room, all the leaders listening to me online, everybody in TSA is a leader. Every leader ought to always think about, hey, everything I do has to be about the people that I serve with. And so when I think of veterans and their alignment with TSA, I would say that there's a clear, as I just mentioned, a clear values alignment. When you serve a career or even a 2 or 4 year period of time in one of the military services, you leave with those values of that military service inculcated in your being, right? And so, when you look to TSA, hey, there's incredible values alignment between us and the military services. The other thing that is critically important, I just mentioned that, I think everybody in this agency is a leader. One of the things that military service brings is, one, leadership training, because the military services have, for many, 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 many years, trained in leadership at every step of a person's career. So you have leadership training, and importantly, very unique leadership experience. And leadership is so critical to our success as an agency. So values alignment, leadership alignment, and then clearly all veterans have a commitment to service. And the veterans that have joined TSA because they want to continue that service in a different way. That is very consistent with what they did in uniform in almost every case. Because we are a national security agency. When you're a member of the military services, you are in national security positions by definition. So values alignment, leadership alignment, certainly an alignment with commitment to service. And the last thing I would mention as to why veterans are such a good fit for TSA, and these are things we should talk to other veterans about, is veterans by definition have a bias for action. And in this agency, we need, and we do, have a bias for action. We look at a situation, and I think one of the things about TSA that is one of our clear strengths above just about any other government agency is our ability to tactically address a problem and solve it to make sure that our transportation systems stay secure. So, those 4 things, values alignment, leadership development, leadership training, commitment to service, and bias for action are 4 things that I think make a veteran participation in our organization, their contributions to our organization, particularly impactful. So I just wanted to lay that out for all of you, and then as I conclude, one, to thank all the veterans for their service in uniform, for their service in TSA, for their family service, because nobody serves either in this agency or in the military services without their family supporting that service. So thank you to all of you. I'd like to thank Mark Estridge for his great work in managing our veterans programs for us. He has been a rock in those programs, and Mark, you've contributed an enormous amount to all of us veterans and to the entire agency overall. So I appreciate that as well. And let me just wish each and every one of you a very happy Veterans Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Administrator. We greatly appreciate it. Next, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Assistant Administrator Bill Weinberg. Bill joined TSA as an Assistant Administrator for Contracting and Procurement in November of 2020. After spending 32 years of federal service, and many other departments, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security and Commerce. He also served as the Director of Acquisitions for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He spent a career at the Patent and Trademark Office as a Director for Procurement. And he served in the Department of Navy for over 20 years, working on complex procurement procedures for major weapon systems and developing innovative acquisitions and strategies to meet emergency program need. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Administrator Bill Weinberg.
Well, thank you. And this is probably, I appreciate the invitation. This is probably one of the greatest honors I've ever had in federal service. And I've been over 35 years or so being in federal service. As Jerry mentioned, I did spend over 20 years in serving in the Department of the Navy as a civilian, working with many, many uniformed people in procurement. And I should mention that although the people didn't know this when they asked me, like Veterans Day, I was born in November of 1954 also. So I'm probably the best person to be doing this today. But rather than talk about, since I don't have veteran service to talk about, I do want to talk about the things that we're doing in procurement that focus on veterans. And lastly, we'll touch on a CFC campaign this week because it is Veterans Focus Week. So the administration has historically focused on veteran-owned companies for us to do business with. They established goals for us to contract with veteran-owned companies, and TSA has done a fantastic job of contracting not only with all small business categories, but with veteran-owned small businesses and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses to the tune of, in FY22 alone, we obligated $229 million to veteran-owned small businesses. They represent 23.5% of all of our contracted dollars over the life of contracts to over like $500 million over the life of the contracts that we award. We hold many veteran-owned business focus events with our small business specialist to educate small businesses and veteran-owned small businesses on what we do at TSA, what we need at TSA, and how they can help us. And I was talking to Jerry a little earlier. We found a great improvement in the services that are provided because it's not just about the goals, meeting the goals of contracting these dollars, but my job, if you will, is to get the agency what it needs. If we can do that and contract with small businesses and contract with veteran-owned businesses, that's even better. But I will go to the department or whatever and defend that we got the agency what it needed, and we couldn't get it from a small business if that was the case. But we make every effort to find small businesses, veteran-owned small businesses, to be able to do the work of TSA that we're doing here. So we're really proud of that, and I think that's important as a way of not so much honoring veterans, but serving the veterans in the veteran community through the dollars that TSA spends. We also, I know, hold a lot of veterans hiring events for TSA, and that's how we get the numbers that we have, and hopefully that will improve. So veteran-owned contractors really do play a very important role in what we do here, by percentage, by the activity that they do. They support a lot of the IT work that we do. They support security administrative services. They intelligence and analysis, INA. They support those offices, to just name some of the bigger offices that they support. So we will continue to do that because it's a great resource for supporting TSA in the work that we do that we have to do every day. There's a press release coming out at some point, I think later in November, that's going to say that we met again for the second time all of our small business goals set by the department, set by the administration, and we're happy to do that. And as we look around to the leadership of TSA, and people are getting what they need and getting what will serve them in the mission, then we're achieving multiple goals at the same time. So we really appreciate that. Let me turn to Combined Federal Campaign. Again, when I was asked to do this, I don't know that people knew the nexus between me being the vice chair for TSA, for this Combined Federal Campaign, and this event. But it turns out that this week, because it's Veterans Day tomorrow, is the veteran. Each week there's a focus for Combined Federal Campaign. This week is veterans charities and military service charities. So this is an opportunity for me to say, as the vice chair, think about donating, serving, in somehow small way, make a pledge. The other thing that we're really emphasizing this year is that you can monetize volunteer hours. If you pledge, and we'll be providing all this information to all of your key workers, if you volunteer time for Combined Federal Campaign, we monetize that, where there's lists of organizations that accept the volunteer time, and we're looking at the availability of admin time to do that on behalf of TSA. We're in the final throes of making that happen. But if you see something like that, saying if that's okay, we'll appreciate that. So that's another way to support. I do want to say, in taking this over and looking at last year's Combined Federal Campaign, we raised $240,000. That represented, in the national capital area, like 4.6% participation, which seems like a small number, because I think it is a small number. And our goal this year is $268,000. I always want more, but I think we can do that if we can just raise the participation a little bit. And I was talking to somebody this morning about, I don't know, you want leadership emphasis on this, but we don't want to make it like coercion. So we don't want to make it like I can't tell everybody in TSA, or CNP, you must participate. That's not the way we do it. So we need groundswell. We need ground support for contributions. But I think we can do better this year. I know charitable giving has gone down since the tax code has changed a lot. But there's a lot of things going on that I think people can really support. So, like I said, it's an honor for me to be here to support Veterans Day. My first week 2 years ago, I came in on a Monday, and on Thursday or Wednesday, I think Wednesday, there was a Veterans Day observance. So this has sort of become, this is my starting point for the next year. So I'm privileged to be here and appreciate the kind words, and thank you for letting me do this.
Very good. Thank you. We greatly appreciate that. Before I close out our ceremony, just a couple of things I want to make sure that you know about. For those folks that are here at TSA Springfield, we do have the Department of Veteran Affairs. There is a table out in the lobby. They'll be here until 11:30. Virginia Department of Veteran Affairs, they'll be here until 1:30. So if you'd like to go by and talk to those folks and have questions for them, please feel free to do that. I'd also like to encourage my fellow veterans with one bit of information that might be helpful to you in the future. If you plan on participating in the Military Service Deposit Program, for those of us that are not retirees from the military but have time that you'd like to buy back and apply to your retirement, please begin that process as soon as you can. It's a lengthy process and can take some time to get through. We've experienced quite a bit of uptick in that area with all of us that came on right after 9/11 that are ready to retire, and we want to make sure that you get that process started in enough time to complete it. We greatly appreciate you being with us today, Administrator, Assistant Administrator, Director. We appreciate all of you being with us today and honoring our veterans throughout the TSA. Please rise for the retiring of the colors. Color Guard, retire the colors.
Ready. Up. Ready. Cut. Color turn. Halt. Left. 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 Right. Left. 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 Right. Left. 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 Right.
Very good. Thank you all for being with us today. Special thanks to Lola for doing our sign language today. For all the folks behind the scenes that participated and helped put this together, we greatly appreciate it. Please reach out. Love on a veteran today. Thank you.